2, 1, go. I ain't mad at ya. I ain't mad at ya. I ain't mad at nobody. Nobody. Nobody, 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 nobody. Woo! Yeah, I love it. It is Wednesday nights. That feels good, Miss Davis. Woo! Who said that? Maybe singing is like an exercise when you do it from the inside, Miss Daniels. Now come on, come in the studio with me. Benita Daniels. And hear me. Come on, let's go. Get up. I need everybody in the back to get up, 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 get up. Yeah. Get up. If you don't have suntan lines, you're doing something wrong. How you doing? Mary Brown. How you doing? You need to get in the studio with me. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. All the ugly people, be quiet. Make some noise if you look good. Ow! Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. I ain't mad at you or you or you or you or you or you. That's what the politician said. That's what he said, Miss Davis. Come on. Come on. All together now. Uh-oh. Don't get mad. They said she's talking about our money now. Look, but you better be careful with these people's money. Because we're going to get mad at you. That's right. They're trying to take your money, but then they both funny. They don't show up to work, honey. We need them to go and take a seat, do what you're supposed to do. When we vote for you, we expect you to do what you said you're gonna do. You took our money. You took our money, took our time, we stood in line. And now, you can't even do what you're supposed to do for us. Come on, I ain't mad at you, but you ain't gonna get voted for again. I ain't mad at you, but you don't have our votes. Your boat has got to float. I ain't mad at ya, but you owe money. You know what? You owe us money, honey. Myself, Mr. Newell. Mr. Newell, I'm coming by the barbershop. And I'm coming live. Coming AfroEconomics live from the new Mr. Newell's barbershop. We're gonna cut some budgets up in Congress. We're gonna get them to figure out how to do that money. They've been funny with the money. Raising billions of dollars to run for office, y'all. Come on, I'm coming. And we're gonna tell them. All right, join in, Mr. Newell. Come on. We're gonna tell them. Here we go. Oh, I ain't mad at ya. Come on. I ain't mad at ya, but you won't get my vote again. Now go on home and let someone else run. Because we need someone to represent us. They better do the job. Don't take my money and not do your work, honey. We gotta see where our money's flowing. Where is the money flowing? Full disclosure, honey. Cause the money is funny. The money is funny. Oh, Mr. Newell, thank you so much. They're watching tonight and they're like, Lord. He said he sent me a new client. They're like, yeah, right. Yeah. my singing, I sing. I don't sing for just anybody. I sing for Miss Davis, Mr. Newell, Miss Daniels, that I just singing for them. I'm just singing for them because I got to tell you a story how I got so cool. I was sitting in my room listening to the radio.
One thing,
What?
you preached a
But
sermon on Nelson
uh,
show. I was
uh,
out of sleep. And I'm like, oh,
uh,
wait a minute. Let me wake up.
that's right.
Wake up. Let me
Especially
wake up.
when, right? Especially when we started talking about the money that the HBCUs are owed, right? I mean, think about it. You can't go back and pay my dad. You can't go back and pay those people what they were supposed to get paid if the schools were funded properly. People spent their entire careers there, Miss Daniels. Oh, you enjoying my singing? Girl, you stay tuned in. And JB Bryan is gonna sing again at the end. It's gonna go a little bit like this. I'm just joking. Would it be fun? We just sing the whole time. We need to sing more. We need to laugh more. We need more joy in our life. I'm telling you, just by singing, just by doing that, it felt like, when I'm running, when I'm exercising, especially if you bring it from your gut and you ain't caring about what nobody's thinking about what it sounds like because God is pleased with you. Just let it out, express yourself. We really have to realize that the most important part of mental health is not just like sending people to counseling. It is about empowering them on the freedom of being themselves. I would say that the majority of people who have like a depression, anxiety, is that no one ever told them that they're okay just like they are, that they're all right, that you don't have to keep up with anybody. You don't have to, satisfy anyone. And I think that a big part of how I have survived as an entrepreneur is because I know in exchange for the security of a job, you have to, in many cases, sacrifice your peace of mind and deal with the judgment of someone who is out of their natural mind. That is sad. And people sit there and get assessments and evaluations and things, by people, and they're mad at you for taking care of the customer. You looking out for the best interest of the people that are spending the money, and the company is mad at you. You get a bad evaluation because you did your job for God. That's why I'm independent. That's why I do it away from corporate America. When I had to sit there and watch them tell me that what this person did to that customer, when they know there's no way that that old lady should have ever been in that I was supposed to find that acceptable, and it's none of my business because that person works there with me. And I'm saying that what they did was wrong. Based on everything that you said in training, this person did this and it's wrong. And imagine if I had stayed in that environment, I would not be here at 8 o'clock at night singing Tupac, I ain't mad at you, to the glory of God. Look, look, look. And they might not be mad about me singing Tupac, but they would get mad because I said to the glory of God. They'd be mad. Come on, y'all. We should be able to have the confidence of telling at least somebody else that your freedom and your peace of mind has no price on it. That you deserve to work in an environment that encourages you to be happy and at peace. We're talking about the majority of people said they're not happy with their job. The majority of people surveyed said that they are unhappy at work. All those hours they're spending at work. And you think that doesn't impact your real, like your mental health, your physical health, your every health, everything? You think that doesn't? Unless you're like a man of steel, like Mr. Jones, like, you see him there, like, nothing bothers him. You know, nothing bothers him so much that he had to retire early. He said, I'm not bothered. I'm just retiring. Just because. Right, Rita? That's what it was. He was so happy that he retired early. No,
He
but in
did that
order
because
to,
he wanted to spend a little bit more time riding his bicycle. You,
that's what it was. Yeah,
yeah,
good for him. That's right. And
yeah,
time with me. Talking with his financial
exactly.
advisor and says that you better take care of my money. I'm gonna wring your neck. And I said, I ain't mad at you. Don't get mad. But that how you manage your life and manage your money is everything. A lot of people don't like their job, but they won't leave because they like the stuff they want to buy more than the peace of mind. I can make it work. You tell me what you got, I can make it work, but you got to make it work. No, most of the time, you're not worried about the return on the market. Your problem ends up being you overspending your money, right? We can blame it. You can blame it on the market, but no, people overspend. No, Miss Clements can do a workshop on, how to avoid overspending. You, Mr. Clements, and Mr. Jones and Ms. Davis, on how to avoid overspending. It's a habit, right, Mr. Jefferson? It just has to become like just a lifestyle. I was thinking today. I was like, wow, the lifestyle changes that we can make because y'all, I finally did it. I finally did it. I sold my car. It was costing me too much. The red light came on. The engine light came on. After I spent that $3,000, I said, okay, come on. I had to. Oh, I'm glad you smiled. I had to. You have to think about like what is taking from you and not feeding to you. And I said, no, I'm going to, because I had this goal that I want to cut, some weight or cut body fat more, before my indoor season in January. And I was like, get rid of the car, walk more. It'll force me. I'm 2 miles from my corporate office, my residence. Half a mile from the bus stop. Do things. I got a motorcycle sitting there, I ride the motorcycle now, you know. You hear something speaking, something hitting it, something hitting. It could be my earring. I can hear the wired piece on the left side tapping as you speak/move. I love you, Mr. HOA.
Oh my goodness.
Mr. Jefferson. Any good? It could be this one down here. But this is jewelry. I cannot take this off my neck, Mr. Jefferson. This is jewelry so that I can flex with my shock headphones that do not go in my ear. So I can exercise without them in my ear. You see this? Y'all know about that? Who y'all know music running people. You can have our music and it did that help? I think. And then so the sound comes into my head. But now, so let's see how many months I can survive without a vehicle. Let's see what this does. This is interesting. My daughter was like, Mom, where's your car? She came in the garage, and I said, I sold it. I sold it. She was like, what? What? I was like, yeah. I knew she was thinking to herself, she lucky I got mine. She better not be looking at mine. She better not be looking at mine. But I thought to myself, I said, Dad, this is the first time since I was 21 that I actually, am thinking about what I don't need. And it really didn't come to me until I told y'all about that client that I have that she's never, and I really want her to come in here and talk to y'all one day, never, ever, ever owned a car, ever. No. I mean, sometimes you can do anything like with capacities of your life that are easy, but what can you sacrifice for the parts of your life that are just there for comfort? No. And I'm not even exaggerating, Mr. Jones. I can't wait to tell y'all about the day I catch the bus. I can't wait.
You know what? You know what?
What?
I can't wait to hear that
You
story.
know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
I know that.
I'm telling you, like today, walking home from the gym, I actually like went to the main street so I could see like where the bus stop sign was. And I'm telling you, like, it is like extremely convenient. And like it just goes down. My street goes like I can be at my office if I don't want to walk. I could be in my office in like 10 minutes. It's like a couple of stops up the street. Do.
Yeah,
But look at how many more steps that I'll get in. I'll be setting records. I'll be setting records for my age group, boy, if I start really moving like this. I'm telling you, it is hard for you to imagine that I used to only get about 500 steps a day,
Okay,
1,200 at the
JB,
most.
what about your track practice? How far away are you from you have to
Oh,
go to
I
your track
know, I
practice?
know, I know. That's a motorcycle ride. That's a motorcycle ride, you know.
In the
It
rain now.
says if I went through the city, they said it's less than 8 miles away. But then I have like throw
And,
practice too. That's in the inner city, and then that one's I could still, but I'd probably have to switch buses, and that might be outside of my intellect. I mean, that's way outside my capacity. Look,
let me say this to you too, because you're not used to riding a bus.
yeah.
Like when you have to be somewhere at a certain time, you're gonna have to get the schedules of the bus so you can
You
figure out.
see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Because
you're gonna have to do that.
I'm used to skidding in the home plate.
Right,
And I'm not trying to spend all my money with Uber either. You know what
right.
I'm saying? I'll be like, I got rid of my car, so the Uber, I didn't have any car payment. So I can't be, you know what I mean, wasting money on Uber. This has to be some walking. This has to be some walking and some health involved in this movement and this sacrifice that I'm making.
You have to
No.
understand the schedules and the peak and the off-peak hours.
Yes.
Yes.
But I could get my assistant to do it. I go, well, I'm going so and so and so. What an example I would set to my community if I actually went to a speaking engagement and I was on the bus. Look at the reduction in my what do they call it? Like footprint. What's it called? Like, environmental footprint. Because the more we ride together, the less the impact we're having on, the environment, the ozone.
Look
No,
at you. Look at you looking out for the environment. Look at
I
you.
totally. I remember that, but because my daughter like had a class and they went over it when she was in high school, and it was like if she caught because every day I would drive her to school, and the bus would be coming right through the neighborhood, and they said that if you catch the bus, then it will cut down on you get like such and such a reduction in your environmental footprint. And then after that, I said, no, you're going to catch the bus. But it really makes sense. And then um, all of a sudden, the bus started coming out to the suburbs. So a lot of people that live in the suburbs really just don't have any excuse for the amount of money that they spend to many people just to park. Like, and so if it costs you $300-400 a month to park your vehicle in the city, you could, use that park and ride at minimum, get to that, leave your car there. That's going to get you some extra steps to go up from the park and ride up to the metro, get on, the metro or the bus or, whatever, but use it as part of our health movement to move more. Because I remember my cousin in New Jersey, she said when she bought her car, she gained 30 pounds. She had, always caught the bus. She was like, I never thought just that walk to the bus would make such a difference in my life. And she had never, been that heavy before. But after getting the car, then getting the payment, then getting the insurance, and, then having these, things that are pulling her away from her retirement, that she wanted. Well, we literally need to think that, that, like I was saying about the client that I had that lives in DC and never has bought a car, but has 2 or 3 extra homes that she rents out that provide income. And she was able to do that because she never, ever bought a car. The money, like we have people with 2 and 3, and now I'm guilty of that. I know a time where I had like 3 vehicles, just me.
The thing about living in DC though, you really don't need a vehicle because
Amen.
the metro is so convenient for you. It's right there.
We really don't anywhere. Like the times where you need a vehicle is like when you're going over Bebe's house. You know what I mean? That lives somewhere such, and you want to stay over there till 10:30 at night. I'm not at that space in my life, but there are people there. But then you have to think about how much that costs you for that segment of your social life. We don't think about it, But I definitely don't like. I was watching one of those shows that I would like. Y'all know I love those, like, which is, I don't know why, but like Fatal Attraction and those show Dateline and everything. And it was talking about this sister who was pregnant, and she left the house, and she was looking for a ride to get to a funeral, and she didn't want to wake her baby up, so she left and walked. And I forgot what she was going to do if she took the baby with her, but she wasn't taking the baby with her. So she said, I'll walk and I'll try to find somebody. So that was the last time she was ever seen. No, so I think it's like things like that see her, and then a couple months later, then they saw her on a surveillance camera at a convenience store with that guy that she got a ride from, and he said they got together and smoked some drugs, and then he dropped her off at the funeral, but she said she never, the funeral people said she never came in. But she was found, dead on a vacant house near the convenience store. But nobody was ever charged because they just couldn't connect it. Like, so, the people need to know they F with me. I have a 357 snub nose. But she might not, have had anything with her. She might not, like, and then seriously though, if you go out on a quest like that and you're by yourself and you know that you're, it doesn't even matter what type of neighborhood you're in. It's like anybody that has a car, like people go, oh, I live in a nice neighborhood. But anybody that lives in a car, that has a car can go from any neighborhood, can get to anywhere, any state, anything, anywhere they want to go. So I just don't think that we should leave like looking for a ride. If you can't afford to go, no matter how important you think the person is, if you can't afford to get yourself there safely, and it's that long that you're going to need somebody you're going to have to get a ride with a stranger because you can't walk that far. Mm. No, but I think that we have a certain, amount of comfort. So we know it probably had to be someone that she knew, somebody, and then, and then she butt dialed a family member. Yep. And then when she called when her family member called the 911 to say, "Hey, my sister just called me by accident and somebody was beating on her." And then she, the 911 people never sent a cop. So it's like, we're at a disadvantage. Like we hear that happen way too often, about like, people, calling in the reports. And I think that has a lot to do with, the racial discrimination, and they can tell, our voice, or they know the zip code as well. And then, that some, they don't, really admit it. And then the person, like in this situation, he got a day off with no pay, and then was right back to work, and the girl's dead. Even that guy, that NBA player, he called in 911 screaming, yelling, how, and they heard shots and everything in the 911 recording. They didn't even trace the call. That was horrible. So the we have to definitely, be careful. So, but we want, and that's another reason why, like, get on the public transportation. But with that NBA player, like, that's a 911 issue. And again, it goes back to, our politicians, what are they doing? How is this things like, keep happening? That's a municipality, that's a municipal service that is led by, people that we're voting for. They have to answer to. And if we're not getting the proper help, goodness gracious. So, well, who are the politicians answering to then? If they're not answering to the people, as I transition, to, money in politics. You can either think of it about money and politics. Like, how transparent, is the money that is given to these politicians? Like the politicians, like, go around, and they say that, I'm here to serve the people and everything. Oh, look, Ms. Muhammad said that there is a planning feature for a trip. Wow, that's so good. And they have an app. But look at that, though. That person has to have at least a cell phone. Isn't that something? That's only my last time. Remember when I went to the something in the water in DC, and I asked the lady, do you have, a map? And she said, no, we don't print those out anymore. So if the person doesn't have that other feature, so basically here you have public services that are answering to people with higher income.
There's some restaurants around here that don't have menus anymore, and so you got the QRC code. You just take your phone
Mm.
and scan the code, and then you search for whatever the item is on the menu by way of your phone. That really gets
Right?
so much harder
But
to
that
see.
is their way. That is their way of saying, these are the people that I want in here.
You know?
If you don't have that, then that's who it's going to have. Like, I mean, don't you see that on these services that are created so that the low income person can have these services? Soon you're going to go onto a bus, and the bus is going to have things for people, they're trying to appeal to higher income people, like bus rack on the back, the bus. So you go on, put your bike. You know what I'm saying? Who's doing that? When they live like right there, they live, right there, and they have, like in the Richmond, Virginia area. I know at least that for them, at least, the public transportation cut out like every 3 stops were cut out, and their thing was, you have all these senior citizens that are dependent on this bus, and now they got to walk a mile. You know what I mean? In order to get to the bus. I bet I don't have to walk as far as people have to go when they go to a public housing neighborhood. I bet they have like one pickup. We ain't going down in there. We ain't going in there. So we're gonna one all y'all from the back to the front. Go, y'all gonna have to get up here. That's like this, client they in Maryland, out there by the metro in Suitland. And that's right outside DC. You know where that is, Mr. Jones, where that metro station is. They built some really nice senior apartments over there. And they have no parking. They have no parking near that building. You have to park like a mile away. They have about 20 spaces near the building. But this is for seniors. At least, at minimum, they should have a shuttle that's going back and forth from out there in that parking lot. So, we're going to see that more and more. And I think that that's more of the reason why, um, we need to make sure that we are not depending so much just on driving ourselves all the time. Like get an additional way to go to the appointments that you have to go to. If you preferably walk, but if you can't walk, like make sure that you find out about the public transportation in your area. Right. I would love to. I'm going to start as I finish school, and I'm doing more data analysis. Like that's my class now, this advanced data analysis class. I got a homework assignment due tonight by midnight, Lord. But I'm going to start asking you more questions. I believe that that's why God has me doing that, for me to, see. I wonder, and then a lot of the data when we analyze, we go, the question I have to conclude with is, how can this data be used to help the, community? And like with the study with this public, transportation, it should be provided to politicians on, you're not trying to appeal to the actual people that actually need this the most. They put a lot of effort and a lot of pride in, we go all the way out to the county. Have you noticed that, Mr. Jones? Like DC Metro is just so proud of itself that it goes, all the way out to the county. So when they go, the farther they go, out away, away from the city, the more information they'll put out there for those stops. When they go into the city, they won't have as many stops.
Yeah, they especially in the poorer neighborhoods, what they used to do is they'll put like say I'm on a bus route, they'll put up a flyer about a town hall meeting coming up, but nobody's paying attention to the flyer. So if you don't show up, then when they cut the bus service,
Thank you.
you understand what I'm saying? You know
Thank
nothing
you.
about it.
Thank you. But for the app, for the people with the app, you know what I mean? As if these people, you know what I mean, are going around and downloading it, And in the poorer neighborhood, they may not have a phone. And that should be why Wi-Fi should be available to everyone in the United States, so that, That could be another study on how many people have information that's only available to them online, but they cannot afford to get the access to the information. As a basic public service, it should be everybody should get every adult, especially people below poverty level, should get a cell phone and a Wi-Fi password to the government Wi-Fi system. Period. Especially if they live in federal housing. And nobody that is in, subsidized housing, and that's including people with a government loan, they'd be like, what? But that's true. Even people with a government mortgage, if a person living in an apartment, it pays that the government is subsidizing, that's considered subsidizing, then aren't the people who have a mortgage that's like a FHA or Fannie Mae or something, a government mortgage, isn't that subsidized too? Because they couldn't buy the house without that government loan. So that's subsidized housing. Correct? Correct. It's just a loan. And
sounds right to me.
amen. And they get to write it off. And they get to write off their interest, where the person that's in the government, property housing, they're paying a portion of their rent,
A
and they
portion
don't
of
get
their rent.
to write it off. That's sad. So how about, everybody in subsidized housing should be able to reduce from their income the amount that they pay, just like the people who have a government loan, can itemize and write off the interest they pay for an asset that they get to keep and pass on to their family. When we have proof that even the government discriminated against, our community on allowing us to get those loans. So, but those are the type of things, that we really should talk to the people that we're voting for about. All right, like, let's just get this, let's really think about this. So the people that are able to really benefit from those government mortgages are people, and the ability to write off government interest are on those loans, to write off that interest that they're paying to the government, is people with 100,000 plus in household income, and that's documented. I want to show y'all something. I'm gonna share screen, because as Carl Nelson show says, information is power. You're talking with the most ultimate. It would be funny. Carl be like, "I heard you." That's not yours. So look at this. Have you all ever heard of this? The Brennan Center for Justice. Have you ever heard of that?
No.
That I should be sharing it with you. Y'all can't see it because I'm looking at myself. You can't see it, right? Okay.
Nope.
Let's see if you see it now.
No.
No. I did. I'm gonna do stop and try to share it again. Like, I could see it, but I was sharing that report with you because I just want you to know what it looks like. I'm gonna see if I double click, if that will help. Share this tab. How about that?
Not yet.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like sharing tonight. So the Brennan Center for Justice did what I was talking about, like getting a lot of data together, but they did it on just a lot of different categories, and one of which was the money that is spent on political campaigns. And the Brennan Center is part of the of like Harvard, no, I'm sorry, excuse me, New York University School of Law. the Brennan Center for Justice at the New York University School of Law. And then they that have this report has had feedback on protecting and expanding voting, securing elections against foreign interference, reducing the influence of money in politics, and improve redistricting, safeguard against erosion of law and democratic norms, and promote fair and impartial courts. So it was all about like the American democracy. And what I want us to take from tonight is, as we approach the 2024 election, dog, we are like approaching the last quarter of this year. That we to think about what is going on with the money that they're raising. The politicians receive large financial contributions from organizations, corporations, other campaigns, and individuals. And so they're inclined to be responsive to the organizations that are giving them these huge contributions. And this started in 2010 when there was a law change that allowed for the businesses. So it was called Citizens United versus Federal Election Commission. And it allowed corporations to spend unlimited funds promoting individual candidates or political parties. So after that, elections are becoming increasingly expensive. The 2020 presidential election was the most expensive election ever in history. It cost over $10 billion. And small donors
10
only
billion?
represented 22%. So small donor is people that spend less than $200. So that puts the big donors at a major advantage, because the politician is saying only 22% of the money comes from these individuals that I'm going on TV acting like they matter. The only reason that they matter is because the corporations will back who the people like. Correct?
That's
The
right.
corporations are trying to make a safe bet on what we're going to do so that they will give money to that person. Now, I'm going to tell you the truth, like that FTX thing that's going on, that guy, they have him, going through this trial and all this stuff. And now they're trying to sue his mama and his daddy and all this stuff. Like that, he gave millions of dollars to both political parties
Right.
and some individual candidates. And they're going after his mom and his dad. These people ain't never feed that man. It's sad. So I'm gonna go back to my notes. So those with individuals only accounting for 22% of the contributions, that everybody is like trying to emphasize, like what kind of corporations they can appeal, or what corporations can they get to love them. And then we also have a problem with foreign countries spending money on our elections, right? So we got money coming from overseas. And it says foreign powers are barred from spending on US elections. But operatives disguised as Americans bought ads through fake social media accounts. Isn't that something?
Mm-hmm.
It says
Even at
yeah.
22%, that's $2.2 billion that little people got in. That's quite a sum of duck.
Yeah, but they don't even care. They don't even care about that, because they
Yeah.
got to deal with all those little individuals It's so much easier to get 10 billion from, say, 50 corporations
Right.
than you have 2 billion from, millions of people. You're like, who's going to get the attention,
Exactly.
So we have to realize that we have a responsibility to make sure that we're not wasting our money, really. Are really wasting our money when you go to those fundraisers and they want $1,000 out of you, is it really going to matter? Like one time they wanted business owners to come to a meeting, and I was telling the guy he was with the Obama administration trying to be elected or reelected, and my question just was, what are you going to do in order to help Black people as a minority get more government contracts, because the number of Black people, especially Black men, getting government contracts has drastically been reduced. And he closed up the meeting after I asked the question.
Oh, wow.
He said, and so everybody looked at me like I did something wrong. It is amazing.
Whoa.
And he was already an hour late getting there. And I said, and this isn't a question for me, because my business doesn't depend on government contracts, but a lot of the people in the room, they depend on government contracts. And I just want to know, like, what can we expect from your administration? And he said, well, you think the other one's going to do better? You think they're going to do better? I said, sir, that's not the point. What can we as business owners, expect from you? He packed up his stuff. It was like, basically, nigga, please. And it was a Black man.
That's
But
right.
Jones.
I was just thinking that's like the scene in Malcolm X movie when Malcolm X was talking and then the dude just started to write. He said, "Get your hand out of my pocket." That's what you had your hand in his pocket. He had
So true. So true. He said, I'm out. But what is the worst part was that everybody was
What
like,
was Miss Davis going to say?
yeah,
I was
what
just
were you
gonna
gonna
say,
Miss Davis?
okay, I was just gonna say, when you are that type of representative, there are 1,001 questions you need to answer when you
Exactly.
are in a forum like Jen was not so unique out of the boundaries
Amen.
of anybody's expectations.
Amen. But nobody
Probably
asked.
several.
Yeah, but nobody
Yeah,
asked
nobody
them.
asked.
Nobody asked
Nobody
Black
asked.
people those questions.
And,
They only asked white people those questions. So when
and
Bill Clinton is the one that changed it, nobody asked Bill Clinton, why are you doing this? It's going to kill Black people. You know what I'm saying? But nobody asked because they are under the fog and the deception that the Democratic Party cares about Black business. It can care less. But let a Republican have been in that room, every Black business would have said, yeah, answer him, answer her, answer her.
exactly. But
Yo,
somebody
this is expensive. We're letting
else,
them slide. We're letting them slide. Yeah.
I can guarantee you, somebody else had that question. It was right there sitting,
Oh, yeah.
but you asked it. That kept them from having to ask. But they wanted that question asked.
Amen.
Yeah,
But
but
that's what
you
we
still
get.
don't get that.
But that's what we get for not talking. That's what the businesses get for seeing each other as individuals instead of seeing the importance of an AfroEconomics.
Right.
That, you know what I'm saying? We have to have
Exactly.
a united business, front, just like the white community is doing with their political action committees. They're bringing their money together so it doesn't look like $200, $200, $200, $200, but they put all them $200 together like we could do in AfroEconomics, and boom, you're going to answer that question.
That's right.
Who was in the room that was a member? Zero. Said they don't even, so every day they don't wake up with that consciousness. Who was in the room that have been in business as long as me? Zero. No, so it's like we're leaving ourselves out there, you know what I mean? Where there's all these examples of, no, I didn't start that. That's the reason that they had like SNCC and all of the things that Martin Luther King was doing. No, was that let's not be in a political party. Let's be a united front. We need to stop. And Martin Luther King was right. And Malcolm X was right. They were not in political parties. They were in what is going to be on the best interest of the people that I represent. How is this, like the that like I'm going to do most likely in my dissertation on that Community Reinvestment Act, that is where banks were supposed to invest in the communities in which they were located. But what have they done to actually help the communities, Black people in the communities where they're located? What they've done is most likely, and I have to do research in that area, but what we have seen is the Black people be moved out. So if Whole Foods is interested in doing a store in that neighborhood, they get the benefit of the Community Reinvestment Act because they moved their store into the community that is of low income, low and moderate income. So the act is to serve low and moderate income. Now, I'm gonna tell you, you best believe when Whole Foods goes in to our communities and it totally gentrifies the community, if that ain't a united front from the government and banks on down to change that community, and we are lost in the sauce because we don't see it coming. But there is a direct relationship between a Whole Foods being located there and Black folk not being able to afford that. This research that shows it, and our people not being able to afford to live there anymore. And they're accepting this as community reinvestment. Something that was designed for us, but we allowed it to leave out the racial component. So now and it's still from the beginning, all it says is low and moderate income. Now, what is the bank doing to help the low and moderate income communities? So Whole Foods comes in and they say, you have a Community Reinvestment Act. You should give me that loan I want at a better interest rate than you're giving no loan to that Black business down the street. So the Black business goes out of business. They can't afford to keep their grocery store open. So it's, we really need to unite and start thinking about this, because, and I'm going to, continue to, that's why I'm thankful, when I sometimes try to convince myself that, you don't need, that, working on the PhD is a waste of time. But in reality, it is actually helping me be able to address these things that our organization needs to address with data backing us up. If I want to go and say, this has hurt, you have not kept your commitment to the community, and that this Reinvestment Act needs to include a racial component, period. And they'll go on and on and on and on, just like now the Biden administration is saying we're encouraging the states to reimburse the HBCUs for the money. How many Black politicians have allowed the state in which they represent not pay those historically Black colleges and universities correctly? And now all of a sudden, here it is 40, 30 years later, collectively, what do you say, $13 billion is owed by these states to the schools. And you got these kids with jacked up credit for the last 30 years, that should have been given scholarships if the schools have been funded correctly.
$30 billion.
13, yeah.
13. Whoa.
That's crazy. And I think that the only reason it's being recognized is because of the foundation that the guy went through that divorce at Amazon, and his wife is giving money to HBCUs. And I think that Biden and them want a piece of her
Jeff
money.
Bezos.
Yeah, his wife, his ex-wife, said she doesn't go by his name anymore, but it's her. Like, it's giving money to the HBCUs, and I believe that and the administration wants some of her money, so they want to try to write. So all he's done is write a letter to make himself look good. That's it. We have to realize that if the president of the United States wants states to do something, he says, give them their money now.
Good point.
Yeah.
And it's funny because whenever it comes to Black people discussing anything like reparations or anything, it always has to be a discussion first.
Even though you know the bill, based on your data, you said this is the bill. You should be telling us how much of each of these states that you listed, but then they try to give us piecemeal as the information. And when you go and ask for it, they got to do a freaking tax audit on you. Why do you need to know that? Next thing you know, your life is being threatened and you're being audited. That's crazy.
Get your hands out of my pocket.
Exactly. Exactly. So that's another reason why we really need to become comfortable with living below our means, because you have to be willing to sacrifice a lot in order to do for us, unfortunately. It shouldn't be like that, but that's the way it is. I have sacrificed a lot to look out for my community. But that's what we have to do. And I wouldn't be able to do it for you if I didn't decide that I'm not going to live and try to keep up with the world is. I'm going to focus on the people I have to serve. I'm going to have to sacrifice some of this. I can't live like that. I'm not going to be able to live like the people I protect. But, that's the way it is. That's, the birds are going to eat. The mama bird brings the food. She don't eat all the food, give the birds what's left over. I'm going to give you all the food, and I'll just have what's left over. And we have too many leaders who are making sure that they eat first, and they're giving the masses the leftovers. We gotta really, really think about that. So what do we tell them that we want, to see things change? First of all, there has to be some agreed upon way where people that actually go to jail can come back out and get their voting rights reinstated. I don't understand why in the world, no matter what you did, if you decided to let that person be back a citizen, how in the world can you take away their basic American right to vote? In any state in these United States of America, you do the time, you did the crime, you do the time, and I don't see how any Black person that's a politician can allow that to continue. I would not vote, nor definitely not give any money to anybody like that. And it's sad that I had to learn so early that for many of our politicians, it's just a money-making thing for them. It's just a job. It's just a job. They don't feel that they represent us. I remember, when I went into the city And I said that I'm going to buy this property in the city, then I'm going to live in above it in the apartment, and I am going to run for political office. And I think very young in my 30s. And then I knew had the senator that I knew, so I went to see him, and he said, if you want to come talk to me, it's going to cost you $200, for a contribution. I said, okay. I wrote the $200, gave it to him. When I got there, he said, did you give my secretary the money? I said, yeah, I gave her the money. And then he said, okay, we can talk. And I said, I want to run for office. I live in the city, and I want to, know if I can, you can support me, and I want to run for city council or something like that. I was like, I'm gonna come up, I'm just gonna come up slowly. And he said, well, nah, because my friend, so and so, like, he's running, and I'm gonna back him. And I said, well, I don't think he's gonna win though, And then he said, well, I gotta back him, And then, like, his friend ends up getting in a whole bunch of trouble, going to jail. So um he doesn't get to run, or when he ran and then he goes to jail, something, whatever. But that friend, like, but never did anybody connect that you backed this person that went to jail. There's just and then after that, after taking my money, telling me no, I'd rather support somebody that we know is in the middle of criminal activity, that I just lost interest. I was like, that is disgusting. He didn't ask, like, well, what
So
do
is
you
that
want to
typical?
do?
Wait,
Don't
is that
know.
typical?
But
You
I,
pay a
I,
politician.
I, I would think so.
I
Because
mean,
I
if
guess
you
the $200 was to make sure that it was small, and he probably didn't have to report it. So he probably, anybody that just did 200 or less, they didn't have to report it or something. There was something to the $200, because he would have wanted to get more.
thought when you speak with people like that, when you set an appointment and then you come and talk with
Yeah,
them for whatever the reason,
that they could
you
do
have
that.
to do
Yeah.
a check.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Isn't that something?
In my district
Yep.
here,
You ain't.
I'm going. I haven't set an appointment yet. Not ask me for a check.
Yeah.
I got there's
Yeah.
some issues
Yeah.
here with it, and if she
Yeah.
asks for that, I got a check for her. This is it right here, balled
Yeah.
up in my
But
face.
mine was a senator. She might not be high enough to ask for money.
She better damn not. If she does, I'm
I
she
mean, but
damn
look at
well.
all these things. I told you about the time this man asked me for $1,600 because his wife was raising money to go to a dinner, a lunch with Michelle Obama. And I said, $1,600 is just about what I need for payroll. You ain't getting shit from me, sir. $600? Are you crazy? And a whole bunch of
Well, how
people,
much was the dinner?
$1,600.
Oh.
Yeah, like that was what I was gonna have to pay to participate in a lunch.
Oh,
In
okay.
a lunch, so that I could look important. It ain't that important to me to look important, sir. No, but you bet your life there was a whole bunch of people there who didn't have to pay nothing. I just wasn't, to them, important enough for that. Which is ridiculous, because I know more people than any of them who are married to the right person. That's so close. We're just so confused. You know how fast, if there was a white person running for something and they even thought that I was interested in their party, they wouldn't ask me for a dime. We are lost. So we're like, what I'm saying? But you got to know that you are worthy, because, unfortunately, they're not going to acknowledge that. Never in my career, ever, have I been noted as being worthy. It's sick how we treat each other, especially when you care about your people. I feel like they can just treat me, you know what I mean? But if I was using my people, if I, were dogging them out, if I were robbing them, if I was going around with luxury cars and stuff and pimping and sleeping with people, you know what I'm saying? Then I'd be important. It's
We
really sick.
we know you worthy, JB.
You know what I'm saying? But
We
we
know.
are
We know.
worthy and we need to keep the high road. I know, like, you know what I'm saying? That for doing the right thing, we get stepped on.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's sick. I mean, that is really something we got to search back into slavery on that. Like, why do we have these highly ethical women who we treat like nothing, but let her be a hoe and we glorify her? That's it. And you know it. And they know she's a hoe. And they know how she got to where she was. And they know it. They can speculate anything they want on me, but it ain't a truth. You know what I'm saying? So they can say it, but but there's a difference between saying something and then knowing it, and it's the truth. But I feel, free, and it doesn't deter you, and you keep going. So on my last day, when I'm dead in the casket, I know I'm gonna be smiling because I'm winning. We got, you know what I'm saying? And that's all that matters, is that we're winning, that we're winning. Like when I started tonight, I ain't mad at you. Because there's a whole bunch of people out there, they losing. And everything about them is based on some budget for where they work. And it ain't a dime of it theirs. And the minute they lose that job or that position, none of these people that are using them care about them at all. That's the part that's like so sad to me. They just put them over there in some closet and they act like they never, ever mattered. But as long as they're head of the so and such a such, a such a such a such, you know what I'm saying? They fall right in line and treat everybody the way they end up being treated. And we'll collect that money, like Ms. Davis said, and won't worry at all that I took that money from that young Black professional. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I'm put here to do, is talk to her. Could have at least said, nah, but maybe next year I'll come back and talk to so and so. No. Right? Ms. Clement said, subscribing to CBC periodical costs big money. Much more than she could afford. That's sick. That's crazy. What? Oh, the Congressional Black Caucus. Isn't that sad? Is that they had a periodical that you had to pay for. Now, come on. Now, come on. They want your vote,
I think that
but you got to pay for a periodical.
yeah, I think they have like their annual meeting coming up. Speaking of the CBC, it's supposed to be coming up like now.
I know. Oh, my goodness.
Mm-hmm.
They should just be streaming live and save the money. But they go over there and people just be partying and getting drunk. You know what I mean? It's a big party. Just a big party. And an opportunity for them to make statements and not address any answers to the questions. Like you said, don't have nobody like me in there. They're going to have all their friends. All their friends, the only ones that will be able to answer questions. They doing the exact same thing that the other party is doing. And they try to act like they're different. No, but you're doing the same thing to your own people. When are we going to, okay, well, we're going to close out the meeting. That's so sad. You need to ask them, when are we going to fully disclose all political spending? Like this report says. It said it had some key things that need to be changed with politicians and the money and how it's raised. It said, one, boost citizen funding. that $200 needs to be the main. Like they could have a limit that only 20% of your fundraising can come from corporations. No, they could do things like that. And don't say 20, we can't do a percent, but amount. We're gonna have to do amount. Because you do percent, you know what I mean? They'll still do too much. And then like maybe you can only have one corporate dollar for every $2 of individual contributions. And then, and then it's to provide tax credits to citizens when we give contributions, so that when I wrote that check, I could write it off. No, and not deduction, but a credit. That means no matter if you itemize or not, you'll get that money back. You know, they're talking. No, these are the things that need to be brought to the Congressional Black Caucus. When are you going to fully disclose? Also, fully disclose all political spending, so we don't have any of that dark money. That dark money is money that doesn't have to be disclosed to the citizens. Yep. Secret cash, that dark money, is growing by leaps and bounds. They said there was almost $181 million in federal election spending when this was printed already. And then, like, and strengthen disclosure disclosure requirements. Strengthen donor disclosure retirements. Who that money come from? You need to know. Required transparency on online ads. No, they don't have to take that $1 million. They know they don't know who that is, but they always online asking me to send a picture of my driver's license and everything. But you telling me somebody could do this ad and they don't have to give their driver's license? That ain't fair. They scared. Look, they worried about the little man doing all their practices on us, but then, the big money can come in and put any kind of ad up there they want. Oh, it's an ad. It's an ad. Stop having so many loopholes, they said. Close up the loopholes on how they get around. There's loopholes that allow those PACs, political action committees, or to coordinate with the candidates on the sly. Stop the flow of dark money to nonprofits that are controlled by the office holders. And not the truth. Like a lot of Democrats and Republicans have those nonprofits that they've set up as back doorways to get money. I go, well, just give it to my nonprofit. They don't have to report it. They should shut that down, and they know it. And they should have a federal election commission. It should be revitalized. Make it worth something. Make it accountable. Make it really give them the right to say you violated it. You're in trouble. Put an independent on there. Now it only has Democrats and Republicans. Put an independent on there. Somebody was talking about The View the other day on some YouTube channel, and the girl was like, The View is the worst show ever put on TV.
Wow.
I was like, wow, tell them how you really feel. And she was conservative, and she was like, The View has like 4 liberals and 1 conservative lady. And then the man that was talking to her, he said, well, she's being paid well for her beatdown. I hope it's worth it. And he said she be tearing her up. I've never watched this show in my life, but I thought that was, interesting. It's amazing. Like social media is a trip. People say, I mean, they say what they feel. It's
Not,
wild.
not only that, but the scary part about social media determines what's newsworthy now for us.
So true. So true. That is so true.
Yeah.
If they respond, then it's important. Let's build on that. If they don't get enough clicks on it, then obviously people don't care. That's a good point. Yeah. But I just think I don't want to continue to just push on this, but I want to as we approach the political season and everything. Did you think it's a good topic though?
Yeah.
Something that we need to be aware of, like you said, like a lot of us just don't know. Like Miss Davis is saying, like if I go in here, this lady gonna ask me for money. But we do need to realize that she might not ask you for money, but she might not listen to what you say unless you give her some. And you got to know that, especially if she's up
Tell
for
you what,
re-election and she's raising money. She'll invite you to something. You know what I mean? They have some slick ways of how to get extra money from you. Yeah,
let's see, I'll keep my antenna
yeah,
up.
that's right.
She
That's
came
right.
into the neighborhood shaking hands, and that's how we met.
That's right.
So when I went to vote for her, I just voted for you. She won. And it's
I love it.
small. She used to live over
Mm,
here in this district, but she moved out. She lives somewhere else. And
mm,
she's a scientist at Emory University, and she decided to go into
mm,
politics. So she's a
mm.
scientist. She better have some money saved up. She better have a brokerage account somewhere that she can go and get her own
Yeah,
money.
but most
Yeah, but
likely,
don't ask.
if she worked at a university, she probably don't have that much money. Not to her standards. They're gonna make a lot more money as a politician and serving on a couple of boards. She don't get paid. All you gotta do is a couple of meetings. I had no idea. Another senator told me. He said, I should have kept my business. I should have stayed in business because I was telling them that story that I was thinking about politics when I was younger. And he said, "Nah, you did the right thing." He said, "I should have stayed in my business." He said, "Because the main way you make money in politics is boards." He said, "If I hadn't done these boards, and he was up there, it was like I wouldn't have made no money." I mean, because some of them, they, I mean, check out how many boards your politician is on, and I think a lot of people should look at that. That I mean, it's really a conflict of interest. Say you have, some people from the city who are sitting on a board for a company that's trying to, come in and fighting for a bid or something, like that, they're supposed to come off. That's a conflict of interest. But I believe that conflicts of interest go ignored all the time in politics and municipalities. And they'll just call it a different name. Like I said, they'll get them to give to their nonprofit instead of giving to them or stuff like that. And, they might not be on the board, but they might be on their advisory council, so play on words. But from the famous words of Tupac, I ain't mad at you. But we still need to make them do what they got to do. Make them do what they got to do. You take my money, you better work for me, honey. Do it. Do it. So find out who your representative is and make contact like Miss Davis did and see who's giving to them, who's contributing to their campaign, and follow the money. Follow the money. That's where their heart lies. Mm. Take care, y'all. I
Okay.
appreciate y'all. Thank you so much for
Thank you.
sharing your evening with me. You take care. Good to see you, Mr. Jones. And
Thank you.
you look great, Reverend Bozeman. You fight back, fight back, fight back, fight back, fight back. turn on some hip hop and fight back.
All right.
Fight
All
back.
right.
We got this. You got this. Love is a healer. We love you so much.
Thank you.
Yes, we
Love you
do.
too.
Love you more. Yes.
All right.
Thank
You
you.
all
Bye
Bye.
bye.
Friday.
See you Friday.
All right.
Friday. Good night, Miss
Don't set
Daniels.
your clock.
Exactly. 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 He's
Thank you,
doing well.
Thank you, Miss Davis.
Okay.
Calling you out. Exactly. We better tell Miss Clements that too. And Miss Daniels that too. And Queen Howard that too. Y'all better get up. Mr. Jenkins, we know you do. Mr. Jefferson been sleeping in too.
All
But
right.
Mr. Newell is always there. Miss Muhammad, I don't know what's up. We miss you. We miss you.
All right.
Take care. Me and Miss Muhammad gonna get on the GRTC bus. Send y'all some pictures. Look at us. Chauffeured. We chauffeured. Do anything. Look, do anything to get to look. If somebody else get to drive, right? Chauffeur.
We're
Sit
gonna
in the
see how
back
long
seat.
this no gas though. We're gonna
I know,
see how
I know,
long.
I know,
We
I
count.
know. I can do this. Look, look,
All
look. But
right.
I'm gonna tell you one thing. I can't buy no Wrangler right now until them auto workers go back. Cause you know they shut it down. So you know they raised the price on it.
Oh yeah, for
Mr.
sure.
Mr. Jenkins sent me a picture the other day. And I was like, oh Lord. I can't tell him I already sold mine. He was like, they'll give you more for yours now. I mean, that timing was off. I'll take care. That's
All right.
okay. That's okay, because my fitness is up. And my motorcycle is loving the attention.
If the check in small O2 sensor.
I know. That's what I thought, but it was making noises with it though. But that's what someone else
Oh,
said.
for real?
Sometimes that light comes on. Yeah. But it was like you know what I mean? I don't know. I think the only problem with it is that I didn't drive it enough.
Mm.
I just didn't drive it enough. I really think that COVID was really hard on it. And when you sit a car, now I'm glad that that is a cheap vehicle, but some people have very expensive cars that they're doing the same thing to. And I did it to my motorcycle and my car, like because I had to put 3,000 on the motorcycle. But I'm gonna tell you, that Suzuki is good to me. Every time I would get on my HD, that Harley Davidson, I swear it would go click click. Dang, they're so sentimental. I'm glad that your Harley is good to you, Miss Davis, but I can't stand it. When I get on, I want that thing to go. And that Suzuki boy, it starts as
But
long
what
as I
I did,
keep that battery tender
keep
on, it's
it,
good.
I keep it
Mhm.
tender. I'll
Yeah.
switch from one, I'll tender from one to the other, but I pretty much keep, but I ride. You weren't
Yes, that's
riding.
what I'm about to say. Yep. That's right. That's right. That's right. Even when I had like three cars, I would, I would do the same, and we don't realize that when you get too much, like you can't and you're not using them, it's worse than not having, you know what I mean? We just don't need to have things that need to be moved. Just like ourselves, we were created to be used, to be moved. We're not supposed to sit too much. Cars are not supposed to sit too much. They sit there with that fuel in it. And I think like we can look at it this way. When we drive the car, it has a bowel movement, right? Like that's when it's moving. If we sit there with the car, it's
Yeah.
like a person never using the bathroom. You got all these toxins in it. So
Amen.
we need to move it. If you don't move it, sell it and use that money. I know that's what I did,
Okay.
but I will see what God has planned next. I'm gonna
All
know
right.
one thing.
Love
I'm
you,
gonna walk.
JB.
Good night. Good night.
Good
Good
night.
night. You're the best. You're the best. Good night, sis. You're the best. Amen. Good night. Good night, baby. That's right. Let's catch up. Amen. Good night, Mr. Jenkins. Good night. Good night. Good night. Good night, Mr. Jefferson. Amen. Oh, thank you. Thank you. You're a blessing. Thank you all so much for your comments. I tell you, seriously, it makes a huge difference to me. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. Talk soon. And don't forget to subscribe and share. Please subscribe and share. Take care.